In this presentation, we will be covering the process of showing your work in the personal project report. If you remember from our previous lesson, there are three essential components of the personal project: the process journal, the final product or evidence of having met your goal, and your final report, which tells the story of your process and expands on what you have learned along the way. Today, we will be talking about how to put all three of these things together in your final project submission. Ideally, you will turn in one file at the end of the process, your report, with a pair of appendices. We'll talk about what an appendix is today. These appendices will show evidence of the skills you've developed along the way, the process that you've followed, and the work that you completed, in addition to the many sources of information you consulted along the way. First, let's talk about how you can show your skills. In the body of your report, you will use the charts that you completed at the end of each structured reflection to help you show your use of these skills. In addition to writing about the skills you've used, you can select up to 10 pages of the work that you've done along the way. This may include your checkpoint assignments and other work that you've done to record your process in your process journal. When you write about your final product, you can also discuss the skills that were needed in order to execute your final project goal. This chart shows how you can approach discussing different skills in the different phases of your project. It's too much information to read all at once, but remember that you have the slides in your Canvas module, and you can pull this up as you're working on your reflection. Remember, in each of your structured reflections, you completed a chart reflecting the different skills that you used in that phase of the project. You can include these charts in your report and expand upon them to justify how and why you used and developed these skills. In addition to talking about skills throughout your reflection, you need to show evidence of your process. You'll do this in an appendix. An appendix is a section of a document that adds information to the main essay. Appendix A of the personal project report includes evidence of your process. You may want to include up to 10 pages of notes, evidence, photographs, and material that shows your process. You can include your completed checkpoints, source evaluations, goal charts, to-do lists, and other documents. You can also include anything that helps to show the skills you used in the process you followed. The purpose of this appendix is to show your work along the way. It's assessed as part of your reflection. In many cases, you'll also be able to include either evidence of your final product or of having met your goal as an appendix. You may include links to videos of your final product, photos of that final product, links to a website you created, or a separate slides presentation of your final product. You may include data charts showing results or outcomes, or a written final product, such as a piece of fiction, a research paper, or similar. If it's possible to include your final product within this appendix, you should do so. If there's no way to include it as an appendix, there's a space on Canvas to submit your final product as a separate file. As always, you should check to make sure that any links you include are set to be viewable to anyone. You can check to make sure it's viewable by clicking the Share button and making sure that the link is viewable to all MCPS users. As we discussed in the previous lesson, you'll need to include a works cited page for your report, which accurately cites any sources of information that you've referenced in the report itself. In addition to this, some projects require more outside resources, which may not be cited in your report, but are evident in your final product. If this is the case with your project, you can include a bibliography, which serves as a list of sources you consulted. Your bibliography and appendices do not count towards the word limits for your report. So here's where you are now. You'll be using the Personal Project Report checklist to help you expand your report. You should begin organizing your appendices, especially your process journal extracts. On March 19th, you'll be turning in your project, report, and process journal extracts during your final meeting with your supervisor. If you finish before then, you can begin uploading everything to the 2 assignments on Canvas. There'll be an additional video lesson explaining that process. You're close to the end of your process at this point. Keep up the good work.